Okay, so I have been experimenting quite a bit in the last day or two with kind of better ways to make coins because the way I did it, I didn't love it. Um, I tried actually going into an art program and using stencils in order to make a perfect circle, which is, let me show you. I think I have that captured, which is this um, thing here. But I've had quite a bit of trouble trying to separate it out. Um, what I ended up doing is, see, I don't know if this is going to work. You can get a whole artboard because Cinema, they like AI files. They do not talk to PNGs that well. I mean, you can bring them in, but it's not ideally what you want is something that you could extrude or comes in extruded with some kind of width so that you can use that in, as one of your objects and attach it to particles and so on. So I don't know what's going to happen with this one, but another one I did, and I should point out, in order to get this, it's a little bit of a process. I took my painting, I had to bring it into Photoshop, and let's see if we can bring Photoshop up. Basically what you have to do, let me show you, I'll give you a brief, bring it up and then give you a brief idea of how you can, because you're going to need, you don't want the background. So let's bring this one up. Let me show you this. And what we want is Photoshop with the, is this it? No. Where is our Photoshop? Oh, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's showing you the which isn't even. All right, let's try this again. Yeah. That's a video capture. There you go. Some of these programs, I bring it in, it's kind of big. So I need to shrink it a lot. All right. So here we have, notice the checker board. That means there's no background. So you actually have what they call an alpha channel in there, which is basically an empty, I think it is, the value is 0, and you'll see it black. But the way I had to do this is I ended up using the magnetic, they call this the magnetic tool, and I had to use my stylus. I could not do it with a mouse, it was too hard. And what it will let you do is go around, and it kind of magnetically attaches to the object, and then you can cut it out and stick it on a layer that is an empty layer. Not the first layer often will come in with a background. You want to make sure you're putting on a layer with no background. And what I just found that I was able to do, because it does take, Cinema does take Adobe Illustrator. I was able to separate these out here, and I don't know what this is going to look like when I save it. I'm going to try saving it and see what happens, because save as P for parts. So let's see, and you're going to want to save it, and then we can see. Before we do that, I want to show you what something that did with the line art in Cinema did come in as. And you can see here that it did come in as an actual, see if I think it's 3. You can see it actually has some width and so forth. So it is an actual, and so this is something that you can probably, that I don't see the reason why you couldn't attach it to a particle. Of course, it's kind of ugly, and what you probably want to do is have some solid, what you can do with these, and I did this with something I was working on for a friend, is you can actually, I think you have to have it in the editable mode, and then you can actually select these different panels and color them differently, which will let you treat them differently and do other things. In my case, I just wanted to color them differently, but you can see you have something resembling an object here. So let's see what happens. I'm going to close this particular project. No, I don't want to save it. And I want to see what happens with that other file. That would be in my drawings. Let's see something. If we can sort them by date. And (8:58 p.m., 9 p.m., 9:08 p.m. No, that's on the 2nd. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Is this a PNG or is this a... Okay. And no, I don't think this come in right, because you can't even see it. So I'm not sure if that worked. But one thing I did do, can show you this, is I think this one, let's turn this to 10, and I think this is going to work. Yeah, you see it comes in kind of like a board, so you can kind of, I suppose you can do a selection and then cut out the coin from this board. But I think doing some kind of line art and then doing a trace. I think I did some kind of trace. You can do a trace line in Adobe Illustrator and get that. This is just another way of doing things. Rather than trying to play with curves in Houdini, it may be easier because Cinema has splines. You can do spline. You can take a circle, and it does have a circle spline. And let's see if I can find where the splines are at. No, that's not it. Well, we don't want the bend, but I keep getting the bend rather than seeing the, probably easy to see here. Can you see? Oh, you're not seeing this stuff. Basically, there are spline tools in here, and you can use that, and it may be a little bit easier to do it that way, because the splines, of course, you can extrude, you can put caps, so like we did in Houdini, but you can also do line art and turn that into something. So hopefully this has been useful. Certainly, if you're doing a lot of stuff with graphics, or you want to do something where you're compositing some things at the end, understanding how to get that alpha channel, separate, do something without a background and make it an alpha channel, and create the alpha channel, and then you can do a whole lot of it with it in compositing. You can do, if you do, I did a pre-multiply. Pre-multiply takes your alpha channel and multiplies it by the image. So if you remember, no background is 0. It looks black, it's 0. So then when you do the pre-multiply, then you'll get the image just by itself. And you can put any kind of background behind it, and so on. So anyway, again, hopefully this has been helpful. Just some ideas. And I will say one other thing before, in terms of the art programs, where they might be useful to you in doing this kind of stuff is you make your own backdrops. You don't have to look for the right picture. You can just make the backdrop that you need, and if you're inclined that way. I've been very happy with Rebel 5. The Pro version, I think, is $150, which is a lot less than Corel Paint. Of course, you can use Photoshop, which is definitely has some advantages, but it doesn't give you the feeling, if you want a feeling of paint, that you would get. Photoshop isn't great for that. Rebel is good for that. Art Rage. Those are two that come to mind in terms of stuff where you can really simulate painting. But that's where it can be very useful for your background, that you can make your own and have it exactly how you want it, just like they do for movies and so on, or video games, where they have environment artists and what's the phrase I'm thinking of, where they actually have an artist paint a backdrop that they use. So anyway, again, hopefully this has been helpful. You can see there's a lot you can do. Not as easy as I thought. I thought I'd be able to, take this image you're seeing here and just stick it. Even when you get it without a backdrop, the problem comes in trying to get Adobe Illustrator to export it as line art. I did export something like as a line version, but for some reason Cinema will not read it. So I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you next time. Take care.